What's up, guys? Mitch42 here, and welcome back to an episode of Katawa Shoujo. Last time we left off, we were in Lily's room celebrating Hanako's birthday, which we then got drunk, and then the game crashed and broke, which was fun. But yeah, so let me explain what I had to do. For some reason, I was missing a certain file in the game. Don't know why, but it was not there. So for some reason, the game kept crashing and crashing and crashing every time I got past this certain screen. Luckily, they have this mode called a skip mode, which basically same exact playtime as last episode. So those last like 20 minutes haven't counted towards the save. But luckily, there's a skip mode in this game, which allows you to skip forward up to a certain point. And then you just left click to stop it. So I managed to get all the way back to here. I had to test it to make sure that it went through, and it did. So pray to God it doesn't crash from here anymore, because I had to uninstall the whole game. Luckily, it keeps your save files. It allows you to keep them if you install the game. It's like, do you want to keep your save files? And I was like, yes, please, because I don't want to sit here for 15, 20 minutes just in skip mode to get back to where I was. But yeah, so for some reason the game crashed. It was apparently missing a certain file in it. Uninstalled the game, reinstalled it again. Now it's working. I don't know. But yeah, so we back. We back up in here. Yeah, so let's continue from where I think we left off. So we finally passed out in the room, and I think we're being woken up now. Hisao, are you? The soft, barely audible voice lingering in my ears slowly wakes me. I wish I could be awoken like this more often. With the mumble, I slowly open my... Whoa! Ah! Jesus. Taken by surprise at the face hovering curiously mere millimeters from mine, I make our heads collide with a harsh thud. The impact of our foreheads causes both of us to fall backwards and yelp in pain. Lily sounding more like a squeak toy than a person. Ow, ow, ow! I slowly rub my forehead with one hand, supporting myself with the other. Lily lies a few feet ahead, doing just the same, her face obviously pained. Ah, sorry. Your face was kinda close and I acted on reflex. You okay? My head. It seems she's not actually okay. Come to thinking of it, I doubt that the impact alone is what's causing your head so much pain. Hangover? You drank a fair bit last night. She silently nods in confirmation as I lever myself up. I offer her a hand. Whoa, those legs. I offer a hand to her, then help her back onto her feet. Glancing behind her, I find that Hanako's still fast asleep. It's not fair. I only drank as much as you did. That's very different from what I remember. And anyways, girls have a lower tolerance than men. That doesn't help. Fine, I'll get you a glass of water. Just be careful not to trip over Hanako. I rub the sleep out of my eyes, or at least some of it, as I walk to the counter. Tending to someone with a hangover isn't the way I like to spend the morning. It only takes a few seconds for the glass to fill, the clear water reflecting the silver of light that makes it through the thin curtains. It looks like Lily's taking a seat on the side of the bed. I walk over to her and while taking care to step over the peacefully sleeping Hanako and place the glass into her outstretched hands. Thank you. No problem. I take a seat next to her in the soft bed, having a surprising amount of give. She drinks slowly and methodically. A long silence passes with only Hanako's soft breathing to be heard. With some measure of guilt, I look at Lily's face and attempt to read her expression. Her brow is furrowed and she looks to be lost in thought. For a moment I hesitate, but eventually place a hand on her shoulder in an attempt to reassure her. I didn't expect her to flinch rather noticeably at that, though. Ah, sorry, I didn't mean to. Lily quickly shakes her head, in a manner somewhat more violent than usual for her. She takes a long breath to steady herself before letting her head sink. I must look terrible right now. I move to protest, but quickly realize that it would be futile to do so. That said, I want her to open up more. If you want to talk about anything, I'm here. Lily gives a self-deprecating snort, as if to mock her own emotions. There's just a lot happening right now. I'm sorry for being so strange recently, especially back when we were in town. Even now I'm a bit confused about everything. Believe me, I know how that feels. She smiles wistfully, resting a cheek on the back of her fingers. We're a couple of broken young fools, aren't we? Come on, don't say that. Come graduation, we'll be back out into the real world. The real world. Sometimes I surprise myself with the way I think about things. I guess the strange, divorced feelings of Yamaku and the surrounding town compared to the outside world still hasn't become natural. Maybe it never will. It's strange, in hindsight, being isolated from society like this doesn't feel as bad as it probably should. A weary grin on her face, Lily seems to share the same sense of amusement at the idea. Eventually, though, her smile drops. I'll be going back to Scotland for a week or two soon. Is that why we had to reschedule Hanako's birthday party? She gives an affirmative nod. You'll be able to see your family again, at least. You're not looking forward to it? I haven't met my family in 6 years. I don't even know how to act around them anymore. Wait, what? My mouth hangs open as I try to process what she said. If she's 18, that means she'd have been only 12 when they left. I may have seen very little of my parents, but words! I may have seen very little of my parents, what with them both working long hours, but I feel utterly useless as I struggle to find some way to respond. But why? Why did they leave, or why are they inviting Akira and me back? Both, I suppose? My father's business has its headquarters in Scotland, and an executive position became available for him there. In the end, he had to move permanently. My mother followed him, but Akira and I stayed in Japan for the sake of both Akira's job within the Japanese branch of my father's company and my education. As for the latter, one of my aunts is gravely sick. I'm sorry. Don't be. It feels strange, really. We're being summoned there for her, yet we've barely met before. I can't even remember the sound of her voice. Equally strange is the total lack of empathy she feels towards her family for doing such a thing. I can't help feeling slightly humbled. That said, her wistful exterior is just hiding her emotions. Seeing her like this is depressing. Knowing what to do, I lift myself off the bed. Lily notices the bed movements. Her head perks up and her hand reaching sideways to feel where I was. Hisao? I walk over to my bag, still leaning against the wall, unbuckling the front flap and retrieving the apque bag from within. I take the small plain box in my hands. Hold your hands out, Lily. She looks surprised for a moment, but eventually acquiesces. I'm amused by her look of curiosity when I place the music box in her open palms. Her typically delicate way of handling it, making it seem as if it were fragile enough to break it, I've breathed it on it. I've breathed it on. Words are hard these last 2 episodes. I don't know why my reading has been really off. It's probably the alcohol that I drank in-game is now affecting me outside of this game. She wordlessly brings it in front of her face, her slender fingers feeling out its contours and patterning. Eventually, her fingers find the recessed line between the lid and body of the box, and her thumb effortlessly pops open the lid. I take a seat on the bed next to her, watching her face silently and intently. She's completely motionless as she listens to the diminutive, tiny melody, her mouth just slightly opened. It takes a long while before she closes the lid. For me, it was like 2 seconds, with a small snap, bringing the curtain down on the miniature performance playing in her hands. The smile on her face, gentle and wistful, shows that I made the right decision. Think of it as a going-away present for your trip to Scotland. I will. A restless shuffle can be heard from the floor in front of us, the sound having woken Hanako. She climbs out of the blankets I put over her, looking befuddled and wiping the sleep from her eyes. I see you're finally awake. What? Hanako looks around the room with her eyes only half open, her mind far from being as awake as her body. Her dazed state makes me and Lily chuckle. As Lily gets off the bed and tends to Hanako, I take one last look around the room. I guess I'd better get going, then. There'll be questions if I'm seen leaving the girls' dormitories in the morning. Goodbye, Hisao. Oh, goodbye. I stand and walk to the door, picking up my somewhat lighter bag along the way. As I leave the room and enter the hallway, though, I hear Lily's footsteps behind me. What's wrong? Without a word, she strides up to me. I freeze as I feel her hand slide onto my cheek, seemingly every nerve taking in the feeling of her fingers and palm upon it. Immediately after, her face slowly moves next to mine, a slight momentary touch of her lips brushing against my other cheek. For a moment, everything seems to stand still. I absentmindedly bring my fingers to my cheek, as if to try and recapture that fleeting feeling. Lily? That's my thank you, Hisao. Thank you. For your present. Have a nice day in school. And with that, she disappears behind her door and gently closes it. The muffled voices of her and Hanako audible through it, as much as they were yesterday night. I think it'd be hard pressed not to have a nice day after that. She gave us a kiss on the cheek. I walk away with a certain spring to my step. I think there were some people around that glanced at me, emerging from the girls' dormitory building, but I find it difficult to care. She gave us a kiss on the cheek. I was wondering what that music box was going to come into play. I just figured eventually, like, we were going to give it to her. So she's gonna be going to Scotland. Interesting. Hee-chan, go away. Hee-chan, leave me alone. Come on, Hee-chan, let me sleep. After 2 nights of not being able to sleep at all, the last thing I want is to be woken when I finally manage to. It may be the last period of class with the textbook as my pillow, but I'll take whatever sleep I can get by this point. See, Hee-chan, even Shi-chan wants you to get up. I don't care what Shizune wants, leave me alone. Jeez, Hee-chan, I'll just have to wake. Wait, Michi's going to... You. This is bad. I'm up! You don't have to, Jesus. I can feel my face flowering into a scarlet red blush. The students still in class are sitting both upright and staring at the shouting fool who was sleeping just moments before. Damn it! I let my head smack back down on the desk, on the table with a noticeable thud. Wah! Misha's trademark uncontrolled laughter reverberates, I don't even know what that word is, through the classroom. As I turn my mournful eyes to the bespectacled Shizune beside her, she carefully adjusts her glasses, desperately trying to maintain a look of serious disapproval. Narrowing my eyes, I can see the badly hidden grin spreading across her face. It's who, Shizune? Shizune looks away quickly as she crosses her arms tightly, barely on the edge of her control. Wah! Misha's laughter doubles in volume as she glances at Shizune. All I could do is drag my hand down my face in resignation. You too. Who was the one who slept in class, Hee-chan? Yeah, it was me. Poor Shi-chan was having a fit trying to wake you up, weren't you? I move my eyes back to the standoffish Shizune, who with a single huff of confirmation returns to looking away with her arms crossed. Why was Shizune trying to wake me up? Shi-chan wanted to give you the handouts the substitute teacher gave out while Hee-chan was sleeping. Handouts? Oh god. I suddenly find 2 sheets of paper thrust down in front of my face. Following the hand holding them, I see the still pouting figure looking down at me with a distinct scowl. I guess I really am in the wrong here. Sorry about that. No dice. The irritated face still holds. I clasp my hands together and flick my head downwards in apology. Very, very sorry. She huffs and simply drops the papers on the desk. Damn. I look up over my hands to see Shizune and Misha signing frantically to each other. A look of frustration on Shizune's face. It looks to be less of a dialogue and more of a tirade, punctuated with sidelong glances at me. To say it's unsettling is an understatement. The two suddenly stop signing and look at me in unison, both having exactly the same look of disapproval. In one fluid motion, Misha's hand suddenly extends high above me and comes rocketing down. Before I can even hope to react, my head is sent bouncing up and down like a jack-in-the-box. I click from my hands to my head, more out of reflex than actual pain. Ow, who's that for? God, we get a kiss on the cheek, then we get abused. I open my eyes to see the two grinning at each other while exchanging an enthusiastic thumbs up. Chi-chan says she forgives you now, Hee-chan. Could you forgive me with a little less force next time? Wahahaha. I look at the two with the blank face. Misha and Shizune. 1. Hisao, 0. Oh, Shi-chan also says that you should check your student mail more often. She produces a bright yellow envelope and hands it over with an exuberant grin. Strange. Who could have written me a letter? Now is not the time, and most definitely not the place to find out, though. Giving up... It might be my parents, actually. You never know. Giving up on the nap so cruelly stolen from me, I rub my forehead and slowly get up, putting the sheets and envelope in my bag before swinging it over my shoulder. I take a step back and move to depart with a small bow, while Misha clutches her sides laughing and Shizune nods back in a curt farewell. I join the flow of students exiting the room and turn the corner into the hallway, only to end up face to face with Hanako. Whoa, hey Hanako. Good afternoon, Hisao. Silence falls between us as busily chattering students pass us by. She's fidgeting constantly, her eyes drawn to her rather unremarkable footwear. I take the bridge of my nose in my fingers while I blink my eyes heavily in an attempt to make things seem clear. I'm barely staying awake as it is. Hanako, you want to say something? What is it? I wanted to give you this. Hmm? She holds out a small rectangular piece of paper, blinking to make out the text through barely open eyes, slowly starting to make out what's written. Eggs 2, bread loaf 1, whole grain cereal 1, thyme 1. Shopping list? Oh, of course, I say it and then he says it. At least we both had the same thing in our head. Hey, what's up, Spooks? You waking up too? Everyone's waking up. The air freshener keeps going off. God damn it. I look upwards, raising an eyebrow. I usually go shopping with Lilly, but I can't come, so you want me to run errands for you? It's okay if you don't want to. I just thought that maybe, she's panicking. I sigh. Yet another battle lost, though this time by a weakly fought surrender. I smile tiredly and rest a hand on her head to calm her down. It's fine, I was going to go anyway. Just the stuff on this list? She nods, then bows deeply, twice, as if to make her gratitude perfectly clear. We were going to meet outside the school gate at 6. Thank you. I was going to get it, but I need to study for the test tomorrow. Test? Ah, that's right, science. How are you doing with it? She brightens ever so slightly. I've been spending more time on it than before. I think I can do okay. Good work then. She too starts smiling, and much more earnestly than at that. I have full confidence that I can do fine in it without any extra studying, but the fact that she's putting in the effort instead of just reading in the library is heartening. I'll grab your stuff and take it to your dorm in the evening. See ya. With a small wave, we part ways. I'll go do my homework before meeting Lilly. I should be able to take care of it in time. Wrangling with a particularly complicated math problem has caused me to be a little bit late for my meeting with Lilly. Only a couple of minutes, but enough to make me step smartly out into the courtyard into the school gate. I make a right turn and start my way towards the small town below, leaving a few students turning the other way to the bus station. I slip my right hand into my pocket as I walk in the orange sunlight of dusk. Thankfully, this sweltering summer heat's starting to die down, making way for a pleasant cool breeze. When I stretch my hand high above my head, a familiar figure takes form, cane in her right hand. Ah, Lilly. She stops and turns around, swiveling her head slightly to try and work out exactly where the voice came from. Hey, it's me. Koka catch up to her, coming in beside her and matching her slow pace as we resume walking. Good afternoon, Hisao. Hi there. I glance up at the sky. A distinct tinge of orange discolors the clouds, washing the footpath in its light. Long shadows from the trees fall across the wide road down the hill. So, Hisao, what brings you here? Just going to town to grab some groceries. Hanako sent me. Hanako sent you? Yeah, she said she needed to study for a test tomorrow. I was going to come down anyway, so I'll just buy her stuff as well. Unspoken is that Lilly really could use some help to get food, but it's an obvious fact that neither of us needs a state. It's good to hear she's studying for it. I thought the same thing when she asked me to come with you. We continue walking down the street, the familiar sound of her cane echoing through the air as we go. Except for the occasional passing car and the leaves whispering in the branches, there's a blissful silence. Thank God I can finally relax for the first time today. I glance over at Lilly. With a slow zoom. That porcelain face of hers never seems to lack that air of relaxed confidence. I guess the same could be said of her personality, too. As she silently walks, her face remaining pointed to the street ahead of her, I look ahead and savor the cool air blowing over my face. This is probably the calmest moment I've had since the about face my life took so recently. To have it while walking to get some groceries, what a weird life. I feel the crumpled up note rubbing against my hand in my pocket and pull it out to check its contents. Let's see here. Eggs, bread, cereal, thyme, lettuce, shaved ham. That sounds like quite a bit to carry back along with your own. Yeah, just how much does this girl eat anyway? My mind suddenly clicks that, yes, there actually is a person beside me. Wait, I mean, she laughs wholeheartedly. My, Hisao. Her giggles punctuate her words, though she's making little effort to suppress them. Quite direct today, aren't we? Yeah, you got me there. Still, it is quite a bit. Usually I go shopping with Hanako so I know what she buys. It's the same thing every week. Huh. She a good cook? She gives a nervous giggle. It's usually me who ends up cooking. I used to do so for Akira, so it's no problem doing it for Hanako as well. You can cook, but... A short hum with an amused Lilith eminence from beside me. I wonder if the fact that she seems amused by my comments so often is actually genuine, or rather just from a want to make me more comfortable in addressing her blindness. There are ways around it. Some meals are more difficult to cook than others because of being unable to see what I'm doing, but it usually only takes a little more time. Fingers can double as very useful measuring tools, for example. It makes sense. but she'd have to be pretty careful not to hurt herself. I wonder how many times that's happened, given that it sounds like she's cooked alone for possibly years while Akira worked and her parents were gone. With that, the conversation trails off. Compared to the awkward silences of Hanako, Lilly seems generally content to say what she thinks and stay quiet when there is nothing to say. The slick road under my feet is bathed in an orange glow, the occasional fallen leaf crunching underfoot as we walk. I let out a deep yawn, my lack of sleep coming back to haunt me. Did you not get much sleep last night? I couldn't sleep at all for the last 2 nights, probably insomnia. Lily's face suddenly becomes worried. It feels like a personal failure every time she gets worried about my well-being, even if it's generally nice to know someone cares. You have insomnia? Aren't you going to see the nurse about it? Nah, no real need. It's happened before a few times. My meds screw with my sleeping occasionally. Ah, I'm sorry. Come on, it's not your fault. At least I shouldn't have any trouble getting to sleep tonight. You do worry me sometimes. I worry you? I reach around and scratch the back of my neck. I kind of want to address this. Hey, Lilly. I don't mean to sound weird, but please try to forget about my heart condition. She looked kind of lost. I hardly blame her. I guess what I'm trying to get at is, just don't treat me differently because of it. She bows her head slightly. Her white cheeks are reddening almost imperceptibly. It's only natural to worry about those around you. Well, it's still nice to know there's someone like that out there. It may be somewhat embarrassing to say, but it's the truth. Lily takes a breath to regain her composure and manages a gentle smile, though her cheeks remain flushed. The final downhill walk to the store passes in silence. Welcome. Suppose I get my stuff and Hanako's on the second round. Alright, and we're going to end off here, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode of Katawa Shoujo. If you did, make sure to like button down below. If you're not subscribed, channel, subscribe as well. So we got a kiss on the cheek. We got freaking double fist, freaking double axe handled into the desk, which was nice, by Misha. And now we're shopping with Lilly because Hanako has to study. Oh boy, what an episode. Alright, well, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Crazy Bitch 42, and I will see you all in another video. Bye-bye.